Hi there, my name is Callum Newman. I'm the editor of the Daily Reckoning, and we're doing something a little bit different at the moment. We thought we'd start putting up a few videos on Facebook to keep you up to date with what's happening in the markets, and just a different way of trying to figure out what's going on. And one of the ways I do that is reading the press and following different stories, but it's usually not the headlines that the mainstream media will point you towards, or those kind of issues. So this week there's been some big falls in the US market. There's a lot of people very worried about rising interest rates and how that could play out on the stock market, but or even if this is harbours something bigger, a bigger correction. That's not my view. I'm much more positive on where the world is headed, and just think this is what they call a retracement, or a correction in the market. It's just something that stocks do, just par for the course. One of the reasons I'm very positive is Europe. I'm seeing very good, healthy signs over there. Now, so much of the mainstream media will focus your attention on the US and especially China for us here in Australia, but Europe's also a very, very big economy. In fact, it's the biggest trading bloc there is. And just some signs coming from over there are interesting. You probably didn't see, but German workers won a very powerful pay rise this week, and a shorter working week if they want it, and more rights to take time off. So it's a very simple story. Probably no one's ever mentioned it to you, or ever would even think about it. But to me, it shows that workers are so confident that they're prepared to push for better benefits and better wages, because the economy is so strong over there. And they got it. That's the other thing. Also, there's a story in the Financial Times today saying that European banks are showing healthy numbers with their fourth quarter reporting. It's very important to watch what banks do in any economy. They're sort of the linchpin of any economy. When banks are expanding their lending, it's bullish overall for the economy usually, and when they're contracting, it's a negative sign. One of the problems that Europe has had, especially Southern Europe, since 2008 was the leftover loans from the crisis, all the loans that went bad. And it's taken them years, almost a decade as we can see, and they're still dealing with it. That's beginning to improve. So vulture funds have bought up a lot of those Italian loans. They're either writing them off or selling them off, dealing with them. Some have even become performing again. So what this means is the Italian banks especially are starting to recover. Italy's itself is just a $1 trillion economy, so it's important to watch what happens here. But that, to me, is a very healthy sign that the EU banks are coming good. That should mean that Europe begins to follow the UK and the US and start to pick up growth as they did after the crisis, much quicker than Europe, because they were able to deal with their banking systems in a much more faster and effective way, because they didn't have the euro. They were in control of their own monetary system. Anyway, just a short update today. We just wanted to trial it to see what you think of it. The mainstream will be focusing on the market falls, but realistically the markets, especially in the US, had run up quite a lot, so it's not unusual to see them pull back a little bit, and I'm sure in 2 months everybody will have forgotten about it and they'll be talking about something else. So it's just those little signs to watch for. Another thing actually over in Europe I told my subscribers about recently was that the pallet makers over there, might sound strange, but Germany's such a powerhouse when it comes to exports and manufacturing that they ship a lot of goods and they need wooden pallets. Anyway, the pallet makers over there can't keep up with the demand, and there's actually a shortage of timber in the place. So to me, the wage rises, the little signals like that, the banks show things are actually very bullish over there, and the mainstream headlines this week are probably just a distraction from seeing that. The one thing though is with the wage rise deal that the German workers got, is it does show that there's some inflationary pressures starting to build around the world, and central banks will react to that. So interest rates are still on the floor in Europe, so we can probably start to factor in that they're going to rise pretty soon. Anyway, we'll keep monitoring it, and let us know what you think of the idea of doing these video updates, and if you like them, we'll keep doing them.